friends. I'm Jennifer Miller. Thanks for being here. Today on Vector Rising, I'm talking with Julie Schaeffer, FSNPS CPSM. Julie is the owner and creative director of Shaffer Creative. As an Adobe community expert and an award-winning designer, Julie has spent more than 2 decades actively honing her skills. Julie's innate ability to marry creativity with technical messaging positions her as an expert marketing powerhouse. Julie, real quick, what does FSMPS CPSM stand for?
Great question. I'll start with the CPSM. That stands for Certified Professional Services Marketer, and that is through the Society for Marketing Professional Services. And I've been a member of SMPS for over 20 years, and that is why then after some things, I became a fellow of SMPS. So that is the FSMPS.
Very cool. Okay. So, can you tell us a little bit more about like what you do, what your company is about?
Yes. So Shaffer Creative, we are a small marketing firm really focused on AEC firms. So we really help firms not only differentiate themselves to win more work, but equip marketers to do their jobs more effectively. So we really work in all of Marcom, but we have kind of a side that supports Marcom and pursuits and communications and things, and then another side that really spends time training specifically marketers, specifically on how to do their jobs better in specifically proposals.
Yeah, more efficient. It's very appreciated, by the way. So that's kind of how we met, actually. I want to say I did Creative Pro Week, and you were one of
Yeah.
the instructors there. But then I found out that my boss actually knows you. So
Yes.
I was like, well, that works out.
Yeah. And which Creative Pro was that? Was that?
Creative Pro Week. It was the first one I ever attended, which was I think 4 years ago.
Yeah. 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 So I love Creative Pro and Creative
Yeah, it
Pro
was
Week.
fun.
So.
Although honestly, we get so busy during the day that we end up having to watch them like later because I have every good intention. Like all of us are like, all right, we're gonna look at this one, this one, this one. And we all like, no,
I
it's
know.
like months later.
I know. I know. Well, I do want to do a quick plug, if I may, for the InDesign conference in December. So Creative Pro is putting on 4 days of just InDesign. So I have 2 different sessions. I'm doing the Word to InDesign thing and um, precision design. So really looking at like baseline grid and all of that fun stuff.
Very cool. I didn't
I'm
know it
ho-
was that long this year. That's cool.
yeah, 4 days for the InDesign conference. So it's coming back virtually.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I
Yeah.
do appreciate that they did them virtually and they kept them through after COVID because we can't travel. We don't have the budget for that.
Sure. Yeah.
What first drew you into the world of creative design and marketing communications?
Such an interesting question because I think, like many of us, I just fell into it. So at the time when I was in college, I could not come up with a major. I could not figure out what I wanted to do when I grow up. And my advisor finally was like, you've got to pick something. So I chose something that was the closest thing I could find to a degree, and that happened to be advertising. So my degree is actually advertising with a minor in English.
Oh, well, that's interesting. That's actually really good for this industry.
It actually is, honestly, because
Yeah.
advertising, of course, when I went to school, it's changed a bit. We'll say that.
Yeah, definitely. I did desktop publishing in high school. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
So your bio mentions that you have an innate ability to carry creativity with technical messaging. Could you tell us a little more about that or like your earlier experience that made you realize this strength?
You know, so my dad is an engineer and my brother is an engineer. And so I grew up in a household with, of course, I have a sister and a mom too, and they're both on the more art side. I would say my sister's a musician. My mom is actually a librarian. So I kind of grew up figuring out how to best communicate with technical people. I was kind of surrounded, honestly, by a lot of other engineers. So it just really started at a really early age, sitting at the dinner table and trying to figure out what in the world they were talking about and how I could translate that in my brain to something I could understand. Really started pretty much at birth.
You spent 11 years as an in-house marketer for a regional engineering firm before you founded your Shaffer Creative in 2020 or 2012. Sorry. What were some of the biggest takeaways or lessons from that phase prior to that brought you into your own agency?
So that was my first corporate job. So I had, prior to that, I was a freelancer. So I really learned how to, I'm going to say corporate at that firm, just really what that looks like, how the, how the relationships are working internally, what the politics kind of look like. And I was privileged to work at a place that they just had me tag along on projects. So I was really able to learn and understand really what they did so that I could help better serve them by understanding their projects. And like many firms, especially back then, I wore every hat. So I was proposal coordinator, I was a photographer, I did the trade shows, I did all the collateral. So really kind of exploring all of those different things really enabled me when I started my own company to be able to wear all those hats, even still to this day.
Definitely, you definitely do. Kind of last part of the intro here. When you launched Shaper Creative, what vision did you have for it, and how has that evolved over time?
It is completely 180'd over time. When I first started, I really thought I would be largely a photographer, and I do a little bit of photography, but
Well, I've seen your your traveling pictures. They're incredible.
so I'm a pretty passionate photographer. And I thought honestly at my firm, if I can take pictures of wastewater plants and make them look good, I mean, I'm just saying, right? I can, that's a really challenging subject matter.
I did that at my previous firm. I was doing the same thing. I was like, I want to learn all the photography so I can be the photographer.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, it was interesting because as someone that actually worked at an agency, at a public agency, reached out for some help. And I was like, oh, that seems interesting. All right. And that was comms kind of help. And then a firm reached out that they needed some proposal support, which of course was my background. And I realized as a consultant, it's very different. I can do proposals for firms and it kind of levels everything out. When you're in house, you know that certain pursuits matter more to the firm than others. Whereas as a consultant, it's really kind of even. All of my pursuits are equal. I don't have any favorites. So, in being able to better manage my workload, I can say no if I can't handle more, really kind of changed my whole perspective. Not that my previous firm, I mean, they were fantastic, but it's just the dynamics of working in house versus not. So being able to do that, it really evolved into some proposals. And then I realized in doing those that marketers don't really know how to use the software very well, it seems, many of them. So that kind of then evolved into maybe we need to really train marketers to help them do their jobs more effectively. So that whole part has taken on a life of its own within Schaefer Creative.
We're going to kind of switch gears a little bit into more of the creative and workflow of your daily life. So, walk us through a typical creative day for you. What tasks or activities anchor your schedule?
So the most creative thing about my day is that it's no 2 days are the same. Even today, of course I'm doing this. I've done a little bit of InDesign training today. I've done a strategy session. I've done some template work. I've done some photography work. So the fact that I can go through every day and basically what I call work whiplash, where I'm just going between all of these different things, really enables me to not get bored. And so it really does help me be more creative because I can tackle all of these different things all in just one day.
Yeah, I feel that very, very much. um, so you're an Adobe certified instructor, an Adobe community expert, and you work heavily in layout design workflows for the AEC, which is architecture, engineering, and consulting for those not in the know of marketing AEC. How do you blend the technical tools like InDesign, layout workflows with like your pure creative thinking?
I am very, very process driven. So part of the reasons that I love InDesign so much is the ability to create processes within the program to make your job more efficient. So being able to do that and, generate and lay out resumes in a matter of seconds rather than hours really, really helps me be more efficient so I can focus on being more creative. And honestly, it's super fun to get those things once you can see how you can do it, make it work so fast, it really allows you to look at the page and really start to kind of redesign everything. Because I think one thing we get stuck in, especially in our industry, because proposals are such a big part of it and proposals are so deadline driven, I think we get stuck in kind of a triage mindset where you're just doing things like you have to make it compliant first. So let's just get there. And for some people, that's as far as they get. So I want to get there and then go way beyond.
Yeah, that's kind of how I train my designers is, let's obviously be compliant, but and we utilize all your tools, by the way, all of your trainings. But yeah, just
Awesome.
automated in the process is so much needed, definitely needed in this
Oh my
industry.
gosh. It's there. It's already there. So we just have to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. When you say creativity, what does that really mean to you in your work? Is it visual design, strategy, process, something else?
Honestly, process is my first thing of creativity. But after that, after I make anything that's tedious more efficient, I really like to break it down. So some of my favorite ad campaigns across history are the ones that take such a simple idea and it's so impactful. Things like the first iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket. Like, what a tremendous message and what a tremendous campaign. So, really breaking things down and get them as simple as you can and then build them back up. So, for example, like a project schedule. I mean, how many ginormous Microsoft project schedules have you gotten that are 15 pages long? Taking that, really breaking it down into something, what does this really look like? And then how do those few main tasks really impact, and resonate with the client? So is there something within this schedule that they need to hit to make sure that we hit for some sort of regulatory requirement or something? So get it as simple as you can and then build it back up with creative ideas.
What are the reoccurring obstacles or creative blocks you face, and how do you overcome them?
So, probably, although I thrive with a lot of different things going on, there is a bit of a balance and I hit a threshold. So, my biggest creative block is when there's too many things. So, when I have too much noise going on in my head, I need space to really be creative. And so, when I find that I have too many things going on or too much noise in my head, that's way more challenging. I just kind of have to get stuff out the door. So, I don't ever wanna get stuck in doing the things the same way because it's the way that you've always done them, and I think that we need space. As creatives, we need some mental space to be able to truly be more creative.
Great. I keep telling my bosses that I just need time. Darn it. I just need
That's right.
time.
I just need time. Just let me focus. That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned picking a university because of the school colors. How much do those seemingly small aesthetic preferences influence your work now, especially in branding and design?
So, yes, my color crush tendencies were an early sign of really what I was built to do, and that was to be a creative in this kind of space. I've always been drawn to visual harmony, so things like colors, things like structure and texture and shapes and things like that just really help with design. It obviously that goes into how I'm a photographer as well. But you know, I again, without even realizing where my career would lead, I would still do things like, pick out wine because of the label or, you know, or books because of the cover or movies because I really like the movie poster, just looking for those little things that I didn't even realize I was doing. Um, as a designer, I thought everybody did that. I thought everybody like analyzed billboards and fonts all the time.
All right, last one here in this little section. For your team and for listeners who may manage creative teams, how do you foster creativity while still ensuring deadlines, budgets, and structures are met? I don't have to deal with that stuff because I'm at a firm, but this is your firm.
Yes. So I'm a big fan of, and I've been saying this for years, that which has been typed shall not be typed again. And that is really building the structures and the systems in place that if you do something brilliant, save it so you can find it again. Put it somewhere in a system, maybe a CC library, maybe it's Adobe Bridge collections, maybe it's just aliases on your hard drive, whatever. Put those things somewhere that you can find them again so you're not just reinventing the wheel every single time. So I think once you can do that and we can start, you know, not just from ground zero, but we can start a little bit higher in the process, it really helps to be more creative and we have the time to do so.
Absolutely. We have this graphic that we use all the time. It's the learning curve. Um, Doug Varner created that at CDM. We kind of brought it over here. But like it's exactly that. Like at the base is like, the baseline. It's the ground floor, but then, we kind of show like all the projects we worked on with this client, and that's our learning curve. Like we're ahead of the curve of the rest of the people. So kind of feel like that's one way.
I think that we should all do that, especially for what we do. Don't start from scratch every single time. And most firms don't. I mean, we all use go bys and things, but find the things and save those things.
Right. We're gonna deep dive some back into creativity, meaning, and impact. One thing I find compelling in your story, your work with clients in the built environment, AEC space, projects that enhance our lives by improving our environment. How does the meaningful impact of a project influence your creative process?
So, one of the things I struggled with as an advertising major is when I was looking for a job, I just felt like I was going to have a hard time connecting to selling something that doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just selling something like a high-end purse or something like that, that really wasn't, spending all day, every day focused on that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that was just not something that was going to really resonate. So when I stumbled into this industry where literally everything that we do is tangible. So it's a park, it's a bridge, it's a water plant, it's whatever it is improving people's lives, it's improving the community. And I think just knowing that and seeing that and being able now, especially after all the years I've been doing this, to drive along and see the projects built that I helped on some little tiny role, in some proposal 2 decades ago, and actually see all of that come to fruition has really been a really rewarding part of this job and this career. So I think that's what makes it amazing. It really turns, our creativity really into empathy because we're empathizing with the community with everything that we do.
Yeah, I say the same thing when I tell people that, yeah, I could work anywhere, but I love working here. Like, even if I won millions and millions of dollars, I would still do what I'm doing because I get to work with really cool engineers that are changing the lives of people, changing the future. So I think that's just really awesome.
It is truly a really cool industry. I agree.
How do you know when a piece of work is genuinely creative versus just good enough? I struggle with this all the time. What are the metrics or your metrics or the feeling you look for?
So I do believe creativity has a level of energy to it. Like you just feel it. Somehow you feel it. I can't even describe it any other way, but when you see it, you know it, you feel it. And good enough, I think, is safe. And, it might look really great and be clean and all the things, but I really want somehow, and again, the little sliver of the world that we can, you know, once you feel it and you've tied emotion to it, then we're actually really, really communicating with the reviewers and our audience in that way. So I want people to feel something.
Yeah, I feel that. Feel that. I feel that.
Yes.
All right. In your view, how has the role of creativity in marketing changed, especially in professional services like AEC over the past decade? Or you can even go back further because how long have we been doing this?
I've been doing this for 24 years. So that's when I first started in this space. When did you start in this?
I've been a graphic designer for 20 years. I've been in engineering for 14.
Okay, yes. So I started as a designer prior to that. So um, did you ever have the request of just make this look pretty?
All the time.
All the time. Yes. And so I think, especially a decade plus ago, that was kind of the thing. Like they would put the document together. Our job was to make it look pretty. And I think now those two things are much more woven together that our firms are seeing now the importance of really bringing in the creativity much earlier in the process, that really that creativity and that messaging needs to happen at the beginning so that we're weaving it through the entire process. We're not just slapping creative icing on the cake when it's done. So that part I think has really changed over the last decade or so. And I think we're also seeing more emphasis on people and places, like some authenticity, which is kind of ironic in the world of AI and in this the season that we're in. But seeing more people, seeing how people are using the space. It's not just a static photo anymore of a community center. It's actually how are they actually using it. So just kind of seeing that has also been a big change.
Definitely. And yeah, it's been a long struggle to try and get our graphic designers on at the very beginning, like from the kickoff call. But we're getting there. Just I'm in the same way. I want to know more about the project. I want to know about the client so that we can, do things for the client, like how that looks, the message, the story. Um, so yeah, getting us involved super early is definitely important.
Really important. And even understanding how you can communicate to a client, because sometimes we know that honestly, they really like tables. Just give them
Yeah,
a bunch
I
of
don't care
tables.
about it. Look, they just want to read the text.
That's right. Yeah. So just give them those 1-inch margins like they asked for.
14-point font. No. Let's talk about risk. Have you ever taken a creative gamble, something unconventional that paid off or didn't? What did you learn from that?
So I think this probably happened more, you know, 15 or more years ago, where we kind of had more hokey themes maybe in proposals. So doing some of those that actually paid off, but more realistically and more kind of what I do now is, especially if I'm doing a design project where I'm presenting different concepts, I like to really kind of push the envelope on something really risky. Knowing that really they're probably going to choose the middle one, which is really probably what I want them to choose. So giving them the option of those three, and one of them is just really like way out there and kind of really pushing the envelope. It's always fun to kind of do that and just stretch those creative wings a little bit. And then, of course, then they end up on really the one that I wanted them to choose in the first place, which is also a bit of a gamble, but probably outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah, we kind of call that like book ending. Like, and we did that for one of our clients. They switched everything to an infographic style proposal. Like it was all infographics. It was just I think 3 to 5 pages, 11 by 17 of infographics, and we were like, "Yay, that's awesome!" But we the first time they did that, we went all out. We made it a comic book, and we made all of our staff client book or comic book characters, and it was wild. We didn't win that one, but they like were printing it out for their kids to hang at home. And we knew that that was a little too extreme. So
But I love that because I think it takes us kind of doing that and pushing that even not only internally, but with our clients. Like these are the capabilities that we have and these are ways that we're standing out as firms. Like,
yeah, they still talk about it today. So
I mean, I honestly have heard about it myself. So yeah, that's really cool, honestly.
yeah, it was a fun project. But yeah, I mean, we ended up bookending. Like we knew what the one side was, and then that one was the extreme. So
Yeah. I mean, and it is fun to do that. And sometimes, sometimes we're surprised we get selected for those extremes, which is like, cool. Yay. Something totally different.
given your dual strengths in analytical and creative thinking, do you ever find tension between the two? I do all the time. How do you reconcile them in your work and for your clients?
So honestly, that's exactly where I live. Like I live right there in the middle. And I think for this role specifically, that's where we should live. Like analytically, that's where I'm driven by process and structure and templates and those efficiencies. And then the creative side allows me to add the color and the visual harmony and the pizzazz and the other things. So I think truly creativity has to thrive in boundaries anyway. I mean, if you think about it, when we're doing a proposal, we have the boundary of like the page size. So we're already limited by that and perhaps other constraints. So I think within those boundaries, it can really help you focus. And you're not just, it's not like you walk out into a field of like, okay, build me something. Like, build what? So having those boundaries, I think really helps.
Yeah, definitely. We could go way out in space if we didn't have batteries.
Yeah. I know we could be all like crazy animations and all kinds of things, but we can't. Like, we have to do it with in print. So
All right, we are to the last section here. It's advice and forward looking. Um, For someone just starting out in creative marketing or wanting to bring more creativity into their role, what are 3 habits you would recommend they develop?
So the first and I think most important is to stay curious. So constantly learn, not only learn your craft, but learn what your company does. So if you're in-house at a firm, understand what they do, ask questions, go to project sites, do all of the things and just constantly stay curious. I had that advantage. I thought every marketer had that advantage to just go to project sites all the time. So it just helps you to see it. Um, Secondly, I would say make something every day, even if it's just a little tiny, just something. If you're a person who likes to work with your hands, or if you're a person like I am, all of my design work is really computer based. I can't really draw at all. So it's really on the computer. But for me, even if it's just going outside and taking a picture of a bird that's sitting on the fence, which I have an entire library of birds that sit on a fence in my backyard. Um,
Read a book. Be a Google book.
I know it could be. That would be super exciting because I mean, there's only so many birds that come into my yard, um, but just make something. Just, you know, do something creative every day and then be observant. Like I constantly, when I get mailers, I'll look at them just to see if there's anything in there, even if it's from the Costco catalog. Is there anything cool design wise that they did? Or something. Is there anything in there that can give you some inspiration, whether it's color or like, oh, I like how they, used a photo with that quote or whatever they did. So just constantly be observant of the things around you, what's going on.
You've traveled extensively with your camera. We've already talked about this. Photography, architecture, landscaping, landscapes details. How does that travel photography practice feed back into your design and marketing work?
I think if all designers were photographers or at least artists, I think it helps design because it really photography specifically really trains your eye for composition. So yes, I take the photos that everybody else takes, but then I'll also try to find a different way to look at it. Can I look at it upside down? Can I look at it from this angle? Like I have several, I'll see like an art piece outside and I'll actually take it from the bottom up or something unusual to really kind of make it unique. Um, and of course, you're constantly looking at light, you're looking at how color is impacting it, you're looking for textures and shapes and all of those things that go into just a simple photo absolutely translates to design, to creativity. So I think that part is really, really important.
And everyone's taking photos always with their phones. So I feel like everyone could practice.
Yes, practice with your phone. There's so many cool things you can do. Even your iPhone, like flip it upside down. What it does if you just flip your phone upside down and you put it on the ground and shoot up.
Team Android, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, we have 2 more questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up. If you look ahead 5 to 10 years, how do you hope the creative marketing field, especially for like firms like yours, will evolve, and how do you plan to evolve with it?
Yeah. So I do think AI is going to play a big role. So I think AI will handle more of the technical lift. Honestly, it already is. And by technical lift, I mean helping with the content and maybe even some of the other things. And I think that we need to figure out how to add the humanity back into it. So whether that's emotion, relationships, what that looks like, the real focus of it, I think that's going to be where our role starts to evolve, that we're going to be less technicians of the software and more, you know, really looking for focus and strategy and messaging and differentiators.
What tool I skipped this question, just right over it. What tool, platforms, or techniques are you most excited about right now? Like for creativity, workflow, design? Are there anything out there that I should be using?
Well, obviously, I mean, AI is a big one, and there's tons of different tools that you can be using. But one of my favorite things, I just did a passion, I will call it a passion project with AI, and it was creating some InDesign flashcards. And again, I'm not like an artist, I don't draw necessarily, but I could do some really, easy, like 2D kind of designs. And I used AI to turn those into 3D characters. And just the process of massaging my messaging to the bot, it was chat, to get what I needed was such a different way of doing things. And I thought that was a really fascinating use of really truly as a creative partner, doing something that I really couldn't have done myself. Like I don't do Pixar style graphics. So to be able to get that kind of deliverable out of ChatGPT was pretty remarkable. So I think, as we start to do that more and more, how is that really going to unleash us to not only communicate differently, but just to be able to be creative in different ways? And it really unleashes some things that maybe, we can't do ourselves.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not so much a drawer. I mean, I used to. I probably could get back into it at some point, but I mean, I do painting and all of that. But I also did the AI thing for my graphic designers. We're called the Unicorn Brigade, and so I created little My Little Pony unicorns based on like their favorite colors, their favorite like all their favorite stuff. So they have these little unicorn My Little Ponies that represent them. So it's pretty fun.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, so I have a whole slew of 40 now of my little InDesign characters, my little trading cards. So, yes.
All right. Final question before we wrap up. What's one unsaid truth about being a creative director and owner in this space that you wish more people understood?
So, I think people think, I don't know, like the devil wears Prada or something. It's not. I mean, it's really not glamorous. It's really a matter of, you know, brand stewardship. So making sure that we are protecting our brand both visually but also from a tonal perspective, and that's amidst, you know, with doubt and deadlines and chaos and everything else that goes on in our jobs. So that's really kind of what it is. And it's also not about being the most creative person in the room. It's really about building up everyone else and giving them the tools and the efficiencies and the things, maybe in my case, a lot of training so that they can do things that normally would be tedious and take a lot of time and get that part kind of under control so that they can be more creative. So it really is about um, supporting your brand and other people.
Yeah. No, I love that. I try to do that with my individuals too. Just they have all their strengths and I just want them to if that's their passion, let's utilize that. Let's push more for that.
Absolutely. Like, don't put people, square pegs in a round hole. So I'm a big proponent of, if you're a talented writer, let's use you for that. Let's find someone else that can do the other stuff. So,
All right. So we have follow up. I have this lovely little uh jar full of random questions.
oh, okay.
It's just a mason jar, but we're this, and then we've got one question after this. So let's see what our question is.
Yes. All right. Oh, dear. All right.
If you could instantly master any skill, what would it be?
AI.
It is
I
kind of
mean, like,
hard.
really like master it.
It comes for hard.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like I do pretty well, but and by master, I mean like really understand how all the different impacts it can have. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the prompting stuff is going to be fixed, or at least soon. Like
Yeah,
it'll
I mean,
just
you
be
can
easy.
ask it how to prompt it. So
Read our minds at some point.
that's what I'm waiting for when we have the chips inserted into our brains.
Okay, so funny thing, not funny, also, honestly awesome. I was watching the news this morning, and there's a big study. I think there's only like 30 people, but individuals that are blind, like legally blind, they have these glasses now that they're studying with, and they have this little chip that'll go on your eye, and they're able to see and read with them. People that are
Wow.
legally blind, it's a little chip that they
Yes.
put on your eye, which sounds kind of,
Wow.
isn't that incredible?
That's incredible. See,
Yeah.
those are the things that improve life? Like those are the the things that we want.
Yeah, that's what we should be using this for. Not
Exactly.
tricking people.
Exactly. Exactly. Not deep fakes. Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap it all up, I've got one last very important question for you.
Yes.
For my bird community, if you were a bird, what kind of bird would you be and why?
So I'll be honest. I had to go to AI for this one. What kind of bird would I be? I asked my AI because my AI knows me really well. So my AI tells me I would be a red-tailed hawk. And that's because of perspective and vision, precision, balance, symbolism. And then I was like, really? And I asked for more. And then it came back and said, I would be a heron with a heart of a hummingbird, grounded yet full of motion, complicated. I think a lot, but endlessly curious.
I love that. Maybe you should maybe you shift on any given day to one of those 3.
That could be. So we do have hawks. So I do have pictures of hawks. I do have hummingbirds. I have no herons in my backyard that I've seen, um, but yeah, I kind of feel a little bit more like a hummingbird because I feel like I'm flitting to all the different things all the time. I'm just like this all day long.
What color would you be if you were a hummingbird?
Oh, pink, of course.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Well, Julie, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you for sharing your journey and your creativity with us. And I know we still need to touch base, but I just really appreciate talking to you today.
Always, always. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, that's today's creative adventure. Now it's your turn. What sparked an idea for you? Share your thoughts or even a doodle with me on Instagram at CreativeKitty13 or on my LinkedIn page. What's your handle, Julie?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn, Julie Schaeffer, CPSM.
Don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button so you never miss an episode, because you never know what creative spark is waiting for you next. Thank you.